Okay, so I just wanted to hop on here real quick and talk about shitty price action, man. Price action that looks like a barcode, price action that leaves no gaps, price action that just really leaves your head hurting and leaves you frustrated because today was one of those days and you could have very easily got chewed up in this stuff, man. So, touching base on the video title, one great way to increase your win percentage is simply just sitting on your hands when price action is chopping around. And it sounds so much easier than it really is because when you're sitting on your ass for 2 hours waiting for a setup and price is just chopping, it's so easy to convince yourself that a setup looks better than it really does. And today was one of those days where really nothing was going on, man. I mean, you could have taken a trade early in the morning, but once the objective was hit, you can see that price was just consolidating like crazy, and there's really nothing you can do in these conditions right here. So going back to the beginning of the morning here, and speaking about main objectives in general, in my opinion, the main objective for the day was yesterday's high. So going into the morning, I was targeting yesterday's high. I actually took one trade here. And my trade idea was that as long as this 5-minute fair value gap held, that I would be targeting yesterday's highs. So going into the morning, as you can see, we hold this 5-minute, we hold the 5-minute, and I was looking at this 1-minute gap here. So I was waiting for this 1-minute gap to get disrespected. As you can see, 9:30 boosts up. We almost take yesterday's high, but we don't quite take it. So in my mind, this is the objective for the day. This is the draw on liquidity. So I'm waiting. We get a pullback. We're still holding this 5-minute gap. And then finally, we close above this 1-minute. That is where I enter long. So I hop in longs here. Stop below the order block. And I'm targeting yesterday's high. So unfortunately, once we take the internal high here, I put my stop to break even. Price has a little reversal, stops me out by a tick or a point, and immediately goes back into my direction and hits my TP. So back in the day, that would have really pissed me off, I'm not gonna lie. And I would have tried to continue to look for trades because I would have felt like the market was robbing me. I would have felt like the market owed me something after stopping me out by a point. And because of it, I would have tried to force trades in these shitty conditions. This is just god-awful price action. We just have a bunch of dojis. None of these gaps are really being respected. And this is just how you get chewed up, man. This is how you get chewed up. This is how you take unnecessary losses. And it sounds so easy, but it's just so true that if you can sit on your hands and just sit through this crap price action, you'll be so much more successful in the long run, and you'll save yourself a lot of headaches, man. So one of my rules here is once what I think the main objective for the day, once that main objective is hit, I tend to be a lot more cautious when it comes to taking setups, because once that main objective is taken, I find that price action tends to just chop around a lot. So for example, in my opinion, the main objective for the day here was yesterday's high, which I have marked up here. And as you can see, we take yesterday's high, we push up a little bit more, and then we continue to chop around for basically the... Okay, who keeps calling me here, man? Holy shit. And then we continue to basically chop around for the remainder of the day. As you can see, there's just no real clean setups. This price action is just god awful. Even looking at it on the 5, there's just no rhyme or reason to anything. Price is just chopping around. And same thing with yesterday. So in my mind, going into yesterday, the main objective for the day, in my opinion, was going to be these relative equal highs up here. So we had 10 a.m. red folder news. we take a dump, we sweep yesterday's low, and then we continue to reverse. We reverse and we start to draw towards these equal highs here. So in my mind, this is the objective for the day. So I'm targeting these highs. I'm looking for trades targeting these highs, and I did end up taking a trade down here. And once these highs are taken, once the obvious objective for the day is taken, you can see that price just tends to chop. And that happens so often, man. If there's a very obvious objective or very obvious equal highs or equal lows and they get taken, 9 times out of 10, okay, I'll say it more like 7, 8 times out of 10, we'll just continue to chop, or sorry, we'll proceed to chop after taking that objective. So my advice would be mark up your main objective for the day, try to take trades targeting that objective, and once that objective is hit, just be a lot more cautious because that's when price tends to chop. And again, if you want to increase your win rate, just take trades targeting those very clear objectives and sit on your hands and just be a lot more cautious once those objectives are taken, because that's when price will tend to chop. And you don't even really need to wait till those objectives are hit. Like if price just looks choppy in general, just sit on your hands, man. It's not worth it. It's just gonna give you a headache trying to trade in those crap conditions. And the worst part is if you're sat on your computer for an hour and a half or two and you're watching chop, slowly you'll start to convince yourself that some of these trades look way better than they actually do, and that's when you'll try to force some of these crap setups, man. So if you do see chop and it's a little bit later in the morning, let's say like 10:30 or 11, just get off your computer and just relax for the day, because you always have tomorrow, and it's just not worth trying to trade in these crap conditions. So yeah, that's my advice to you. Take this advice if you like, because I feel like it will save you in the long run. It will increase your win percentage. And yeah, man, less is more when it comes to trading, and you should really just be taking clean setups, targeting clear objectives, and just staying out of the chop. That's it.